All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good morning. Thank you to everyone who showed up this morning. We're going to call on Chairman Gunner if he'll open us up in a word of prayer.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all those folks that are here in this room. Pray that you be with them, bless them. Be with us while we make decisions for the citizens of this state, and pray that you watch over everyone as they leave here. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate that. Okay, for planning purposes, we have rules at 11 a.m. this morning, I believe. So we'll have to hit the pause button for a second, and then we'll come back. But first off, I'm going to go with ladies first. Representative Debbie Buckner, House Bill 285. Come on down. Junction City,
Georgia. Junction of two railroads.
all right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Shall I just give a little brief history of how we got here and what the bill does? Will that work? Okay.
We passed this out last year, did we not?
We did not.
Okay.
We have passed it out,
Okay.
but it hasn't ever made it the whole way.
Okay.
This bill started in 2019, and it actually, the story behind it was a little bit before that. I live in a rural area, represent a rural area, and a merchant that sells guns, and the local sheriff came to me at that time and said that a person that had been involuntarily committed to a mental health hospital had come in to buy a gun. And they ran the name through the criminal background checklist, and the name was not on there. And so we started doing some checking, and that's when we learned that the criminal background checklist is purged every 5 years from people that are involuntarily committed to the hospital with no interface with the person. It's just an automatic computer process. And at the time, the GBI director was Vernon Keenan, and had been here for a long time and had noticed that that was a problem, and that some of the shootings that we had around the state could be attributed to those people that had been in the hospital, got out, got guns, and did nefarious things. So we wanted to change it, and we actually in that year got it passed out of the House and into the Senate, and in their wisdom or lack of it, that for whatever reason it did not pass. So we have brought it back 4 different times, and basically the bill is still the same. We feel that before a person that has been involuntarily committed to a mental health hospital gets their gun rights back after being released, they should go back to the court that involuntarily committed them for an assessment to make sure that we're not allowing a gun to be in the hands of someone that is still suffering with mental illness. And that's the essence of the bill. It has had a couple of changes over the years, but that's the bill. We just feel like there needs to be a check-in with the person before they have the right to get a gun again.
Okay. Thank you. Short and succinct. Any questions from members of the committee? Well, you must have done one of the best jobs I've ever seen there, Representative Buckner.
I'll take that.
So, I don't have anybody signed up to this. Anybody come in that didn't get a chance to sign up? Okay, we'll come back to it. Oh, there's a hand. Oh, come on down.
Sign up to speak?
Yes.
Yes.
Come on back. Come on down. Representative Buckner, if you want to slide over. And is it on this bill, Representative Buckner's?
Is this the Kratom bill?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
No. All right.
Okay, so I'll
Okay.
just,
We'll come back to it.
okay, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate your thoughtful consideration.
Okay, next up, I'm going to go with Representative Beth Camp, House Bill 984, Chairman Beth Camp. Georgia Military College's finest.
That indeed I am. Thank you
Go ahead.
so much. Mr. Chairman, for hearing this bill today, and committee members, I bring to you HB 984 LC 481654. Again, this is a bill that if a person, being a child, a disabled adult, or an elderly individual, if their welfare and safety is being investigated, and they go from a known address to an unknown address, it allows law enforcement to speak with a Superior Court judge, request a court order to locate this individual to make sure that they are safe. So you do have law enforcement going to a Superior Court judge. They have discretion whether they issue the court order or not if they feel there is probable cause to make sure this individual is safe. So that discretion does exist. This is a safety measure. We had several investigators from the city of Griffin come and speak about a very tragic event, which is why this was brought to be. And I'm open for any questions on this bill.
Okay, I see no questions from members of the committee. Let me see if you got anybody signed up on this one.
Mr. Chairman, I will say that I worked with PAC and also worked with several juvenile court judges on this bill, and they offered some information to help.
Okay. It is so noted. I don't see anybody signed up, anybody come in late that wanted to. All right. Chairman Kemp, thank you for being here so early. We'll come back to it here shortly.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Let's see. Representative Lisa Hagan, House Bill 1142. You can fire when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do have a sub, naturally. I think we've had 12 at this point. LC 620467S.
And just for brevity and time constraints that we do have, if you want to just explain what you changed within the sub.
Absolutely. The main change in the sub you will find on page 5. Some language was added to section 3, suggested by Legislative Council to equate domestic violence registry with the sex offender registry. So some language was added there to include the recidivist domestic violence offender registry there.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I didn't see this one on the calendar. Do I have a copy of this one? I have another Chairwoman Hagan's bills folder. Well,
Read off the LC.
LC 620467S.
oh, this is a pretrial intervention. Is this the registry bill? Or
Yes, it is. Mhm. 1142.
I'm sorry.
HB 1142, right.
I didn't realize that was.
Yes.
All right.
That was the main change from the last meeting where we presented the bill. Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to answer any questions about it.
Okay. Any questions from members of the committee? All right, I see none. If you want to just slide over.
Sure.
I see nobody signed up. Someone come in late that didn't get to sign up and want to speak on this bill? Okay. Representative Hagan, Judge Gunner has a question.
With doing this, is there any cost to the state on putting this together?
There would be. GBI's been working to get an estimate on what it would take to build this out. And we've been talking with appropriations to let them know that there would need to be an appropriation here. The estimate was between 3.5 and 4 million
Okay.
to put it together.
Just a few dollars.
Yeah, drop in the bucket. But we want to offer a resource to women and some men who are looking to form relationships, and just to be a resource so that they, as with the sex offender registry, that they could see if they are dealing with someone who has a history of convictions in this area.
I support your
Yeah.
bill. I like it. My question was directed more to, have they put any money up to?
There would have to be an appropriations there to build out that website.
Okay, all right, thank you. The effective date, though?
January 1st, 27.
Okay, so that we can go to the next budget. Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
See no other questions. I don't have anybody signed up, so if you want to just take a card and we'll get back to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. Representative Billy Mitchell, come on down.
Chairman of the committee. Is this the hot seat right here? Okay. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I have before you a simple proposal, but one that is certainly significant in its application. Let me give you some background. 38 states, I should say only 21 states allow the death penalty. 6 of those 21 have a moratorium. Those that do allow it have such a involved process when it comes to eyewitnesses' testimony. We'd essentially have to recreate the criminal code in Georgia if we were to apply that. So this simple proposition simply states that the imposition of the death penalty cannot be if the only evidence is a single person eyewitness, which is, as most of you know, is the most unreliable evidence. Many conservative states have this as we speak. Texas is deliberating upon this today. It will be consistent with Georgia Code OCGA 1611-1 for the accusation of treason. They have what they call a two-person eyewitness rule, meaning that before you can be sentenced for treason, you must have at least a two-person eyewitness. So that is the essence of the bill. I'm prepared to take any questions.
Looks like you have one from a gentleman who's prosecuted and sat as judge over a few.
A couple of these. All right, so the problem I have with the language in here is the only evidence, that phrasing, because there's all kinds of evidence, not just testimony. But the way I could read this is no other evidence but an eyewitness. And if I only have the one, I would agree with you. I probably wouldn't even try a case like that.
Right.
But it seems to me that the way I read it, the way I could read it as a judge is only evidence is a witness, not anything else. And that's the problem I have with the language here.
Well, Judge, to be Mr. Chairman, the reality is that is why the bill is needed. If the only evidence is a single person eyewitness, if there's additional evidence.
But if I've got Mother Teresa testifying, a credible witness can still carry the day. I just, again, the limitation that you have on here.
Let me give you, I'm glad you mentioned that. That gives me an opportunity to get into some other evidence. Harvard professor, law professor, was conducting a test on this the eyewitness testimony. He staged a crime in which, as the students were coming into the classroom, the supposed criminal was running out. Police were summoned. They were all locked in the classroom and they were all interviewed. And they were to describe the particular, there were some Mother Teresas in that group. The variety of answers was just amazing. And as you probably know, the police are allowed when they're interrogating folks or interview, and they're allowed to be dishonest. They're allowed to say, you know, there's some rumors that you had a part in it.
Mm-hmm.
The descriptions became even wildly because they tried to make sure there's other instances of not, you know, Georgia doesn't have what we call a double-blind lineup, meaning maybe the officers know who the criminal is, and when they bring people in, that can be influential. Not having, you know, the jury instructions, judges are not, you know, in some states they're required to say eyewitness testimony is patently sometimes unreliable. They're not allowed to say that in Georgia. So if the only evidence, now to your point, if you have Mother Teresa and Father whomever, that's more than one eyewitness, and that would be acceptable.
Yeah, well, nearly all of these type cases have more than one witness. And
Then they
and
wouldn't
a
be
lot of
subject to this bill.
But it's just the limitation here. Just
Yeah, if they have more than one witness.
It all depends on the case that comes out, the credibility of the witness that is testifying, and the defense has the right of cross-examination where they can test that. So that's just my view of it.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
You got another one there, Representative Mitchell.
Okay.
Is that you, Representative Patterson?
Thank you. My question is really more, I think, towards the chairman about his comment. Chairman?
That'll be more appropriately for the discussion part. This question's
Okay.
for the bill author. All right. That's all the questions from members of the committee right now. Representative Mitchell, so if you want to just slide over, I'm sure we've got some folks signed up on this one.
All right. Slide over.
Well, my eyes may deceive me, but there's no one.
It's quality presentation, Mr. Chairman.
Well, all right, we'll come back to you, Representative. At this time, I saw my West Georgia Judicial Circuit DA, Sarah Japor. I think she had to step out. Okay, all right. Next up, and come on down. Feel like Bob Barker this morning.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Randy McGinley, DA in the Alcovic Circuit. To a certain extent, I guess my initial reaction is just it's sort of a problem that doesn't really exist. I mean, I don't know of anybody seeking the death penalty when there's one individual witness. And the problem, I guess, the issue is how does this get, in my mind, is procedurally, how does this even get raised? It just says that death penalty cannot be imposed, but when, where, how does that even get addressed and raised in this bill? And I don't think that's addressed in here at all. Like, who determines that? The judge, the jury? There's a lot of questions that are not answered by this, and that's my concern. I mean, frankly, I kind of view the death penalty of, you know, if I'm going to seek the death penalty, it's going to be because I have no doubt in my mind the person is guilt, and there's strong evidence of the person's guilt. And that's just been my practice. So I can't speak for other DAs, but I don't think people are seeking the death penalty too often with just one eyewitness. And there's always, I mean, the question is, there's almost always going to be other evidence, because you're going to have a medical examiner come and testify, and so I don't know when and how this would ever practically actually come up, is my concern. So I really just stood up just in case there's other questions. I can answer any questions from anybody.
So this is not Michael Kuzak and Van Owen on LA Law just fighting over one witness.
Right. I mean, now it is the crime that, you know, of all the crimes they prosecute, murder is the one where the main witness was killed and not able to testify. So, I mean, that is, of all the circumstantial cases we have, murder is the most common because the one person who saw it happened can't testify. So, but if there's not any questions, that's
there
all.
There are, actually. Chairman Gunner.
Thank you. You would agree with me that if you read this as the only evidence, then that's an unusual case. You'd never have one like that, right?
Right. Not a murder case. No.
But if you only had, if you read it a different way and you only have a single witness to put up. You have all the evidence witnesses,
Right.
but you have one material witness.
That was actually there for when it happened.
Right.
Right. And that would be a concern for sure. That if it's
And
read that way.
This could be read that way. Is the way
Right,
I
and that
look
would be
at
a
it.
huge concern. Because again, often murders are the defendant and the dead person, are the only
Right.
two people that were present.
That's right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Representative Pettis?
I actually have two questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So I know you wouldn't do anything that would rely on one witness, and I know how diligent you are for your community. You would agree with me, though, that any prosecutor who has sought the death penalty firmly believed that the person was guilty too.
I would hope, yes, I would hope so.
And we know that there
Yeah.
have been exonerations based on false IDs.
I don't know.
It's more
Off
of
the top
a
of my head.
rhetorical question. But my technical question is, there's direct evidence and then there's circumstantial evidence. Would you feel better if this limited, if there was no prosecution based on one direct evidence witness?
I guess my thought on that is I think there's a way to look at sometimes circumstantial evidence is actually more reliable. Things like phone records and things that cannot be impeached is often where circumstantial evidence comes in, because it's sort of that other, it's not relied on one person's perception of it. Circumstantial evidence is often like if somebody, an example, increases their life insurance for their spouse to $3 million 2 days before someone murders them. You can't really impeach that. I mean, is there some other explanation for it? Maybe. But I think when we start getting into that
I think the issue with the bill is we don't want to rely on one eyewitness.
right.
So would you be more comfortable if I mean, that's what the bill says, one eyewitness. So if you have circumstantial evidence, my understanding is you can still bring it up, even if you have one eyewitness, but maybe.
Well, I think so, but again, like I said, murder cases is the most common case that we don't have an eyewitness to. I mean, we're having to rely on other things most often because
Right.
there's just no one else to testify. But
I get how that works, but.
But again, in this bill, there's no procedural mechanism in this bill too. Like, who makes these decisions the way this bill is written? Is that, if I seek the death penalty, does this allow the defense attorney to file a motion to basically invalidate my death notice because they believe it's just based on one witness? And do we have some pretrial motion to hammer out whether that's true or not? None of that's
Got it.
in here.
Thank you.
Mr. DA, I had a thought. You have someone that, let's just say they're suffering from a fatal gunshot wound, assailant, flees the scene after firing the fatal shot, and they record, and just, let's say, an iPhone audio recording, and they tell us who,
Like a dying
Fatally shot
declaration
them.
sort of thing, right?
and so under this bill, that could prevent that from being entered as evidence, potentially.
I think it could limit whether or not we can seek the death penalty if there's a dying declaration of the victim. And I would, generally the courts, there's a reason why that evidence is admissible is because it is deemed reliable because the person's on the verge of death. But I think that's a good point. I do think that could limit what we could do in those cases.
Okay, all right. Vice Chairman Hall.
Thank you, Chairman. Would you agree with me that this is saying we're just assuming that the testimony of a single eyewitness is not credible? We're just, we're saying that it's not credible enough.
Right. And I think there's another statute that literally says the testimony of a single witness, if believed, is sufficient to establish a fact. And we tell juries that all the time. So
Right.
I think the way this is written, it is essentially, as you said, assuming that an eyewitness is not credible.
See no other questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we hope that your better half had a good birthday the other day.
She did. Yeah.
All right. We're going to have to start taking up a benevolent fund for keeping people away from birthdays, and hope that Mr. Finch's grandson had a good birthday as well. So, all right. No other witnesses for this one. What say the committee? as I was. We'll come back to it.
Wait, you got it.
Oh, now we got it. All right. What say the committee?
Which bill?
Do I hear a motion? The one in front of us.
Motion to pass.
Okay, got a motion to pass and a second. Any amendments? Seeing none. All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 682 LC 481522 say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. No. All right, bill fails. All right. We'll go back to House Bill 285, Representative Buckner. She's already presented this morning. Any further discussion on the bill from members of the committee? All right, see no discussion. What's the will of the committee?
Motion to pass.
All right, I got a motion to pass. Second. All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 285, and let me get the LC number so I've got it right. LC 394557, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, you're on the rules. Representative, if you get me the rules, if you want to get a rules committee form, bring it down here and come behind and I'll sign that for you. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, we're going to go back to House Bill 984, Chairman Beth Kemp's bill. Any further discussion from members of the committee on this bill? All right, got a move to pass. I got a second. Any amendments? Seeing none. All right. All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 984 as the substitute in LC 481723S say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, it's on. Chairman Camp, she may have had to go on to another meeting. All right. Oh, thank you. Okay. I'm going to come back to House Bill 1142, Chairman Hagan's bill. Any further discussion from members of the committee? Seeing none, what says the committee?
Move to pass.
Move to pass. Second. Got a second. Any amendments? Representative Roberts?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to amend line 52 from date of birth to year of birth. We had that discussion in committee last time.
This committee or?
Yes, and I believe Rep. Hagan was okay with it, just for PII security issues.
Well, even though I had to go and deal with this about a year ago, what does the official birth certificates designate in the state of Georgia currently? Is it date of birth or year of birth?
Date of birth.
Okay. Okay. All right. So they use date of birth, we believe. Okay. All right. You've heard the.
Oh. I'll withdraw my motion because it looks like they took the address out of the original.
Okay. Okay.
I'll withdraw.
Lady has withdrawn the amendment. All right. Any other amendments? Hearing none. Got a move and a second on the substitute to House Bill 1142 LC 620467S. All those in favor of the passage say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right. Representative Hagan probably left, so. Okay, I'll get that rules form signed whenever. Okay. Let's see, next up, I'm going to go to House Bill 804, Representative Holly. You can present from right there. What number?
Number 3.
Go ahead when ready.
Okay. All right. Thank you, committee. I now bring you House Bill 804, which fortunately I've been able to carry for the last 4 years. And finally seen the light of day. What this bill, just a little background, kind of before we go with my when I got elected in 2018 and got that nice little office. The very first visitor who showed up unexpectedly was a 6'6" judge, Henry County Superior Court Judge Brian Amero, and he said, well, you might think I'm here on the congratulations. Here's what I'm really here for. We prosecute so many cases, and for low-level offenders, and while I want our drug courts to succeed, we've been able to make sure that we have folks who are following the laws and being able to get the help they need. He said far too many times we got folks on low-level misdemeanor, simple possession, marijuana charges that unfortunately are not able to continue on with their life. He said if you could do something about that, and I know that seems miraculous, but I would highly appreciate you. And then the giant walked out of my office. So here we are. HB 804 recognizes that there's that the Office of the President issued a pardon for those who are having a low-level simple possession of charges. And what this at least attempts to do is to codify within Georgia state law, granting full and unconditional pardon for those with a simple possession charge. And it also makes it to align with the current Georgia law, so that for those who are whose activities are more along the lines of trafficking and distributing much larger quantities, that the laws to prosecute them can still hold. This is not for those, but really this is just to focus on low-level offenders who have made their time, have paid their debt to society, and to allow for them to be able to get back in to the world of work. I did provide some documents I have. Sorry for my, thank you, pass it around, appreciate that. From Georgia Justice Project to show that for those who are who have been able to gain advantage of these efforts to stop recidivism and to grant for record expungement and low record record restriction, they've actually been able to be very supportive to Georgia's economy, and have actually been on the straight and narrow. And so what this hopes to do, especially in light of the many jobs that are likely to come to our state with this expanding transportation infrastructure, and certainly the World Cup, is to allow folks for the opportunity to be able to get a clean start, and that's what this bill does.
Okay. Any questions from members of the committee? One from the chair. We expecting that many left-handed cigarettes coming up at a soccer match?
Oh, I mean, probably not. Sorry, it took me a pause. I was like, wait a second, is he referring to the reefer? I wouldn't know. But no, I just hope that for those who, oftentimes for those soccer matches, many times they have parking lot attendants and folks who are just trying to get their life together at the low level, and if they have done that and paid their debts, I just want them to be able to make sure that they can be able to take care of their families.
Understood. Any other questions from members of the committee? Yes, sir. Chairman Leverett. What? Are you 16 over there? What's the number on it?
This one doesn't have a number. This is 16. I can use it.
All right, I can do 15. I'll think of it.
One question. Is that back on? Okay, there we go. There's a reference in here to the Attorney General acting through the pardon attorney.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Is there an office of the pardon attorney within the Attorney General's office, or?
I think this was with respect to on the federal side, but
Oh, that's a federal office.
yes, sir.
Okay. I guess I'm just.
This is a parity bill, so I looked at the what was granted by the office of the president, and just wanted to be able to make sure that that could be that we could be able to do something at the Georgia state level.
So we're taking the language from the federal pardon document and putting it into code. Is that what we're doing here?
Can I ask? I am not an attorney. If I could.
Sure, that's a source of constant pride for your mother.
I don't know.
When I told mine I wanted to be a lawyer, just the horror in her voice was palpable.
But yeah, I would probably refer to some of our groups who were in the audience. I don't know if for those who may be more familiar.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just trying to make sure I understand what the language was.
All right. Let's see, number 11, Chairman Crow.
Thank you. We may be in the same situation because I'm not a lawyer either, and I think I was going to ask something that's similar to what he asked, because a lot of the language in here is referring to the U.S. Code, and are you wanting the Attorney General of Georgia to pardon them from U.S. violations of this, or violations of the Georgia law under 161330, or because I don't read it that way, and I may be reading it wrong. Are you wanting them to be able to be pardoned of a simple possession offense that they were convicted under state law of?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this do you think says that? I'm looking to my lawyer friend down there who was looking at me.
We have a constitutional question, so what I'm going to do while we figure this out, Representative, I'm going to move on to another bill, and we'll come back to this here in a bit.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. And perhaps, Mr. Chairman, when we are able, if we could consult legislative counsel, particularly Holly Carter, who helped me in being able to draft this, to see whether this would be correct.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right, we're going to move on. I'm going to, let's see, House Bill 968, Representative Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members of the committee. Talked to quite a few yesterday and past couple of days. As you know, there's a new substitute that you have. And basically, Mr. Chair, if that's okay, I'm going to read kind of what the substitute is and the corrections or whatever else, additions to it, and then read some quick supporting evidence regarding that. First thing we're talk about, what I mentioned to quite a few of you, is about putting it behind the pharmacy counter. This is where you can ask the pharmacist questions if you need to. You don't have to, but you can if you want to. And that's one of the things I learned from a leading researcher at the University of Florida. He's conducted research, Oliver Grundman, on kratom. I mentioned him the other day, and quote unquote, he says, as I mentioned, we talked on the phone first and followed up an email. As I mentioned, if there's a way to regulate the kratom should be sold, my suggestion would be to limit the sale of pharmacy stores where a pharmacist is present to be consulted. Now, I think that would be better than a gas station clerk. That is around line 228. I apologize. I am working on LC 52107-0S, 1070S. This is the one I gave the office yesterday.
$10.70 is the version that Representative Townsend has provided and is testifying to here. Okay, you can continue.
Okay. This banned synthetics, if you look at lines 24 through 36, it protects the natural leaf. That's line 114. I think that's been the most contentious part about this whole process is the natural leaf. So it does protect the natural leaf. Provides for a real-time logging system. This may be the only difference in what we talked about. I mentioned it verbally to a group yesterday. But this is basically the same thing as treat, I believe it's something like Allegra D or Sudafed, stuff like that, where it's behind the counter. So it's actually a tracking system. We have a bill in another part of the House that talks about ag doing it. That hasn't come out yet. So this is kind of the same. This would be a good way to kind of track it for them. And so this provides a logging system. That's lines 57 through 82. The pharmacy board gave me the language, how they do it. So we're going strict by the law. No new expenses, no added expenses, no cost of this because it's already being done. So we wouldn't need appropriations to staff a couple investigators or things like that. This is already being done. Allow for online sales. This is a big contentious. I've had 2 Georgia callers. One was a retired Marine colonel. 2 Georgia callers who said protect the natural leaf. But they also want it protected, and they thought it was a good idea about purchasing it this way and online. They do theirs online, so you can still purchase it through online. It would just be through a licensed Georgia pharmacist. That way, they can still consult either by video, either in, talking on the phone, whatever how they do it. That's totally up to them. That's line 119. We want to make sure you do not need a prescription for this. You do not. Same offenses as current law. Precautionary statements on label, line 223. Added stuff like the pregnancy bit. One of the things we found out through current research through University of Florida and Georgia, and Georgia still wants to ban it, but they can live with this bill. The UGA Pharmacy School. One of the things we learned through research is people on high blood pressure medicine shouldn't take it. Seizure medicine shouldn't take it. Pregnant women shouldn't take it. Make sure they know about that. That's why we have the pharmacists there to ask questions to if they wish. They don't have to. We're not forcing anybody to do that, but they can if they want. As advertising restrictions, line 274. The researcher also, Oliver Grunman, Dr. Grunman also mentioned what I just said before about consulting with the healthcare professional before you start this. Again, the biggest things right now is we put the cart before the horse. Usually, in people the way use Kratom, they would usually have a ton of research available, and everybody would say, "Okay, it's safe. We've had human trials. Let's put it out there." We haven't done that yet. Research is beginning. It is beginning, so we're not outlawing it. Still have access to it, and that is a Reader's Digest version, but it is the changes. And we did leave out accidentally, I looked at one word, concentrations. If we get this through, anybody wants to do an amendment, that's just to strengthen the synthetic piece banning. It was left out. That was my fault. I didn't include the word. So it would just be in 2 or 3 different spots. But other than that, that is the basis of the bill, and I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Got a question, Representative Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can I have 2 questions? Okay. The first one is, I'm just trying to understand, so line 20 through 22, so we're banning the synthetics and the derivatives, and we're taking the pure leaf and putting it behind the counter in pharmacies.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I misunderstood when we had this discussion yesterday, because I don't want the pure leaf behind the counter. Would you be open to putting the synthetics or derivatives behind the pharmacy counter and having a carve out for Pure Leaf so that it can remain accessible to people in gas stations?
No. No, and we talked yesterday. The pharmacist, as this research stated, really would like someone to be consulted if they want to ask. The gas station clerk isn't the right person to ask about, is this safe for me? He doesn't know I'm on blood pressure medicine. I doubt if they could tell you. A lot of times it's some kid out of high school. Or it could be someone else, but probably not a doctor or a pharmacist behind that gas station counter. But thank you for the question.
Okay. All right. See no other questions from members of the committee. If you want to take a seat over there
Yes,
at
sir.
the edge of the table. We've got several people, or Vice Chairman Hong has a
Representative, before you leave, what did you say you left out? I missed the.
It's the word concentration, concentrations. It's under section 5, and I believe in new line 205, be line 204, then after 21 and 34. That's just to make sure the synthetics are banned. And I think that's what FDA is trying to do now. And the other bill in the House is trying to do the same thing as ban synthetics.
So where would that word go in? I'm sorry.
205, let me get there. Okay. Actually, if you look at line 21, it talks about such term. It starts in 20. Such term includes any synthetics, seismic derivatives, alkaloid derivatives, and analogs. It would go after analogs. And then 30, it would add it after analogs, where on line 21, it talks about the
What word is missing? What do you want to add there?
concentrations.
Okay, thank you. And other areas that may mention that is what
Correct.
you're saying. Thank
Yeah,
you.
anything related to that. Thank you.
I have several signed up for this. We still have some pretty big bills that we have to get to today. So here's what I have to do to be expedient at this 11th hour before crossover. I'm going to give you a minute. Get as much as you can done within that minute, and I'm going to enforce that very strictly. Okay. Let's see. First up, I have Mac. Come on down.
My name is Matt Caddo, Senior Fellow of the American Kratom Association. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, for this opportunity to address this. 1 minute's crazy because you heard all that testimony in the last hearing, including why we weren't here. There was something said by Mr. Wetherington that directly is false, saying that the AK has paid people to send you emails. That is not true, and you should weigh the credibility of what Mr. Wetherington said after that. The important takeaway is today is kratom is not 7-hydroxymetrogene. All of the unfortunate the adverse events and deaths you hear about, and you don't have to believe me, are attributable to the synthetics. And Representative Townsend Bill doesn't do the right thing here because he's blaming kratom for it. Current law under the KCPA protects people with product formulations. That's what your law today does. It also restricts synthetics. Your law does it, and it does it effectively. We would welcome more enforcement on it. That's an important part. Mr. Wetherington held up all of the long labeling restrictions that are on kratom products. It's because of his predatory litigation. They're defensively labeling it. People should know what they're taking, and they should know what the ingredients are, and they should be able to make an intelligent decision based on that. Here's the most important takeaway. So the state of science today is The U.S. government has spent $100 million on Kratom. Nora Volko, the director of NIDA, says you should have it accessible in gas stations. The FDA, HHS, and NIDA all say Kratom deaths are rare. When they do occur, it's because of polydrug use and adulterated products.
Mac, I'm going to have to stop, but you might be able to get some of that out through questioning. Representative Kendrick.
I just wanted to clarify that AKA you meant the American Kratom Association, because I'm a member of a sorority that has
Oh, I'm
those
sorry.
acronyms. So I just wanted to clarify. just to clarify that.
We would welcome merging with you, but it's the American Kratom Association.
Representative Bill Fincher.
You admit then, though, you work for a company, or you're a part of an association, and you're trying to get it accessible, more accessible. You're trying to open the door to Kratom to more people.
We represent the more than 24 million American consumers that consume Kratom, and the hundreds of thousands here in Georgia. We work with companies who are willing to be regulated.
The companies that you work for,
I don't
you
work
with them. Okay, what you have a number of items there you were trying to show us. What are those items?
Okay, thank you. This is a sublingual strip made by a 7-OH manufacturer which bypasses your gut, which where Kratom works. This is a concentrated synthetic, semi-synthetic
And that's
product.
dangerous.
It should be banned. It is. The FDA says it's
All right.
dangerous.
What else
They've
you have
recommended it for scheduling. Okay, this is a pseudodoxal product. It's made from mitragynine and then 7-hydroxymetrogene. It is pseudodoxal. It should be banned. But this is what.
And how is it ordinarily presented? Okay.
Yeah, this is where Representative Townsend gets it wrong. This is what should be done. Strengthen the synthetic, semi-synthetic. But this says mitragynine pseudodoxal. And here's the killer. And literally, MGM 14 and 15. This is where they're now chemically taking the plant material and they're converting it. So a 7-OH product is not Kratom, and yet this bill treats it as though, and all of the adverse events and deaths that you hear, every adverse event is reported to the FDA, every single one, and they evaluate it. And today the FDA says natural Kratom leaf products are not our problem. It shouldn't be behind a pharmacy counter. It should be accessible to people. It is these synthetics.
May I ask another question, Mr. Chairman? You have any documents where they say it has been proven that that's not the same thing, or?
Yes, sir.
You got a document? Oh, I don't see one. Nobody's presented us one.
Well, we will certainly present it to you. On the FDA and 7-OH website, you will see a whole array of documents that have been submitted to the Drug Enforcement Administration with the direction from the FDA and HHS that they should ban Schedule 1 synthetic 7-OH and its synthetic, these other things. They want to ban it. But here's the problem. I brought this box of dots. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Has Kratom, even the leaf form, ever been approved by the FDA?
It's a dietary supplement, and when you heard testimony last week, misstates completely. It is not a drug. It has not been approved as a drug because no one submitted it to be a drug. It is an approved, regulated, FDA-regulated dietary supplement.
I interrupted you. You were going to show us something in that box.
Yeah, this is the hysteria that has been created in the state of Georgia. In Walker County, there were 5 children that were hospitalized because they had ingested a gummy product, and the emergency room doctors in Walker County all reported it was Kratom. I asked the Walker County Sheriff if he would send to the University of Florida, which he did. They tested no Kratom. 116 other drugs, no drugs. What happened was these kids were ingesting these dots, not these particular ones. The box of dots was delivered. When you ingest dots too soon, the sugar that is in the product creates dizziness, it creates vomiting and diarrhea, and it sedates you. That's what these kids presented with. And yet doctors in the emergency room in Walker County all said this was Kratom. This is the hysteria that's been created around some of the narratives that you've heard, and it has to stop. These are the culprits.
I'm going to interrupt you just for a second, if I can ask another question. But you're not a doctor.
No, sir.
No further questions.
Okay, let's see, number 6, Representative Pinch.
Thank you. Are there contraindications between the natural leaf? Like, is there, if I'm on high blood pressure medicine, can I use the leaf without any problems?
So under federal law, any supplement, has to have a reasonable basis for safety under conditions of use. That's the threshold for entering the marketplace. What the FDA does under their adverse event reporting system is they take every adverse event, including if someone has taken kratom that has hypertension, high blood pressure, they analyze whether there is a cluster of adverse events or deaths that are associated with kratom. And then if so, they will order the manufacturer of the blood pressure drug to put a black box warning on their product that says, do not take this product with kratom. That's what happens. So there's been no such edict from the FDA after extensively studying this. Is it possible that someone would have a contraindication? Yes. And if that happens, it will get reported to the FDA, and they will evaluate it for whether there needs to be a black box warning. But the warnings that we advocate for, pregnant women should not use kratom. Breastfeeding mothers should not use kratom. We think people that take and look at the label will be able to see, including the one Mr. Wethington showed you, which had all kinds of advisories, consult with your doctor. These are all appropriate. We're fine with that. But you don't mandate it, and you don't put it behind a pharmacy counter like you do for cold medicines they are over-the-counter medications that previously were drugs, and now they have OTC status. That's appropriate for a pharmacy. This is a dietary supplement. Go to your GNC store. Go to your dietary supplement store, and the people can find all that they want about kratom from the labeling, which is where they should actually get that advice.
Thank you.
Representative Neal.
Thank you to the chair. And I just wanted to thank you for returning again. I want to direct my questions or my remarks to my colleague across from me. Luckily, you are not here to engage in all the fun times we had with kratom a little while back. And during that time, some of the things that you're asking for, all the documentation or what have you, that was provided to us in vast amounts. And it has been presented to us, like, for instance, like vitamins, weight loss drugs, those types of things are not approved by the FDA. And because during those times, during those debates, when we were talking about the fact that there has not been enough research to determine one way or another, that's why we decided to regulate versus do a prohibition in the past years. So this now is taken to another level, and probably why you don't see all the documents now is everyone knows that this committee is more than familiar. We might be experts now on kratom, so that's why you don't see that here today.
Mr. Chairman, could I clarify one thing? The federal government requires what's called an 8-factor analysis to evaluate whether any substance should be subject to Schedule 1. The FDA has on 2 occasions submitted to the DEA that mitragynine, which is the principal alkaloid, should be a Schedule 1 drug, once in 2016 and again in 2018. Both times, the evaluation of those 8 factors, which is the standard, said it's not subject to that kind of regulation, is not a Schedule 1 drug, and the World Health Organization through the UN Commission on Narcotic Drugs came to the same conclusion with 12 independent experts. So there's ample evidence that is done by doctors, by researchers, by specialists around the world and the United States. It is not appropriate for scheduling, and you adopt here in Georgia the same standard. If there were credible evidence that this should be scheduled, it would be done by your Board of Pharmacy or by your health department using the appropriate standard for those 8 factors.
Okay, see no other questions. All right, next I have Patrick Philkins. Excuse me, that's doctor, correct?
I'm a doctor of pharmacy.
Okay. All right, want to make sure we got that right. Go ahead.
Appreciate it. I've previously testified on behalf of the Georgia Poison Center. I'm a clinical toxicologist and emergency medicine clinical pharmacist here in Atlanta. And the Georgia Poison Center serves the good people of the entire state of Georgia. And I'm happy to answer any questions about kratom toxicity, what it affects, how it works. But I just want to reiterate some of the data that we have from our state. Since 2021, over 500 cases of kratom toxicity have been reported to us, and that represents a 66% increase between 2022 to 2025 alone. Nationally, the number of exposures resulting in serious medical outcome requiring extensive medical intervention has been increasing about 5% year over year. There's been a 400% increase between 2024 and 2025 in pediatric exposures, kids under 5, to kratom and kratom products. And these numbers include reports of major medical effects and documented fatalities. And just to speak from a pharmacist's perspective, I definitely agree with the bill. A pharmacist is in a unique position to educate patients on potential drug interactions or interactions with any conditions that they currently have. So, I fully support, and the Georgia Poison Center fully supports any way to decrease the number of exposures that we're seeing in Georgians, and then increasing the safety for people who still choose to use the substance. And I would also like to suggest an amendment to add to the labeling requirements the number for the Poison Center. 1-800-222-1222 is the national number. If you are in Georgia, it will get routed to the Georgia Poison Center, and we are trained experts in how to manage kratom toxicity and kratom withdrawal. Thank you, and I'll happy to answer any questions that the committee has.
You've got a few. Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You referenced kratom as a substance and a drug during your testimony. And then I just previously heard, and I was on the committee when we heard this last time, so I've heard days of testimony on this. I just want to take what you said, because I think we all can agree the manufactured version, not the pure leaf, are two different, well, maybe they're not to you, but we can all agree that the part that changes it from the pure leaf is bad. Like, we're all in agreement on that that's extremely dangerous. What I want to understand is, in those cases that you cited that are increasing over time, is there any way to know whether it was pure leaf or the other bad stuff?
So it's very difficult to get that granular with the data. I think passing this bill would certainly greatly increase the quality of the data, given that we could electronically track the different products being sold. And by doing that, we could create codes to individually track exposures to those certain products if they are reported to the Poison Center, at least. Or if you wanted to query that data, I think it's through GBI who will be tracking this, just to see what is being sold. That would allow for more granular data. Currently, as it stands, APC, which is the overarching body for poison centers, they're the ones who create product codes. And because, as you can imagine, nationally, so many different products are popping up almost on a daily basis, it's so hard to track with granularity exactly what products these patients are being exposed to. But we do right now have a generic code just for kratom that unfortunately does include, well, we have an emerging code for 7-hydroxymetragine. Obviously, that's seems to be the biggest threat currently. Mm-hmm. But on a weekly to monthly basis, we try to update these codes and try to get more granular with the data. It's just very difficult because it's very self-reporting right now.
May I have a follow-up? So the previous witness said that it is a natural supplement, not categorized as a drug. Are there any other natural supplements that at the poison control you see have this level of impact on people's?
Off the top of my head, not with this breadth of something that's marketed as a quote-unquote natural substance or like a supplement causing this much profound toxicity and widespread. Certainly there are supplements available, if you go down to GNC, that in very large amounts, we know they can cause certain toxicities, things that affect the liver, things that'll affect the kidneys. But those are just so few and far between because people, aren't necessarily using them, certainly for recreational purposes, and are using them in larger and larger amounts, which is kind of typical of people using kratom. you can build a tolerance to it, and so you tend to require more and more, as time goes on. But
Gotcha.
I would say this one's by far the most common, if you want to say supplement, that we would get called on.
Thank you, Representative Fincher.
You mentioned pediatric exposures.
Yes, sir.
Then that's a rising trend.
400% in the last year alone, yes.
And what kind of injuries that are related to that pediatric exposure?
Most commonly, depressed mental status to the point of coma. We've seen seizures, children getting intubated. We have not had a reported pediatric death, thank goodness, yet. I would have to look into the literature if they're, specific to the pediatric population, how many unfortunate fatalities we've had. But these are, we definitely get reported serious outcomes.
Madam Chairman, another follow-up.
Yes.
You don't have no way of knowing if that was leaf or whether that was the more derivative form.
As it stands right now, sir, no. Again, unfortunately, right now it's self-reported the product that the certain patient would be exposed to, and even if they say, oh, this is XYZ product that says it's X milligrams. I mean, we really can't be certain. There's no quality control measures mandated. And if mandated, I'm unaware of strict enforcement of that.
One follow-up on that. I guess I want to ask you an opinion. You being a doctor of pharmacy, you'd be an expert of sorts in this area, and you're agreeing that the substitute is much better than wide open use. That's what you're telling us in your testimony. That if the substitute were in place, that would be much better than what we're experiencing now with wide open use at the gas station.
Yeah, 100%.
The question I want to ask, though, if I might follow up with that, if you were going to make a recommendation, period, would you prefer to recommend absolutely no kratom, or to do something different, to make it possible to be available and where it could be exposed, where children could be exposed to it?
I previously testified in support of a full ban, and I still agree with that. But if that is obviously not supported, I think this is a good next best step. The toxicity aside, the kratom can act synergistically with multiple medications that patients are on. So just from a clinical effect perspective, for example, if a patient has ADHD and they're on a stimulant to treat that ADHD, kratom at low doses has stimulatory properties. Those could act synergistically, and cause tachycardia, hypertension, et cetera, but also it interacts with many cytochrome P450 enzymes in the liver, which is responsible for the majority of biotransformation and metabolism of many drugs. And so patients could be on something completely unrelated, and with kratom inhibiting certain P450 enzymes could cause toxic concentrations of prescription medications that they are already on.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the questions. Thank you. Next is Peter Guffner.
He hasn't given permission to.
Squeeze him a little behind you.
Yeah, sure, fine.
Go ahead. Hey, everyone. Hang on, let me get to my notes. My name is Peter Goffner, and my husband passed away from kratom. He unknowingly mixed it with a Monster Energy drink, and it was sold to him under a false pretense of a natural product. And when I sit up here and I listen to them talk about it, say natural product, and I hear all the rest of the testimony, I'm in agreement. If we have to land that it's behind the pharmaceutical line, then I can land there. But I truly believe a full ban needs to be put in place before we go any further, because if people are dying from something, then we need to take a moment and why are they dying? Look at why they're dying. Go Google it. Go chat GPT it. It will tell you. I'm going to tell you this really quick. When he was asked in the deposition, the people that sold it to him, okay, they asked him, why did you, when Mr. Goffner bought the product, did he ask you if there was any indication of any mixing with it? And he said, oh no, he didn't ask. And he said, well, he didn't ask, so you're on a don't ask, don't tell basis? He said, well, yeah, we're on a don't ask, don't tell basis. That's what the owner of the CBD store said to him. Don't ask, don't tell. They do not even know. The people that are running these stores do not know how to, the convenience stores, they don't know. In fact, I did a study. I went in there and I put a Kratom and a Monster drink up on the counter, and she said she was ready to check me out. And I said, you're ready to check me out? And I said, do you know what that is? And she said, I don't even know what that is. I told her what happened. She said, oh my gosh, I don't even want to say that. So the people running the gas station, knowledge is power, ladies and gentlemen. Knowledge is power. And if we don't know the knowledge behind what's going on with Kratom, then we can't stop. We can't save people. Please help us save kids. Please stop believing. My daughter is fatherless because of Kratom. And if Kratom, then take Kratom out of certain things. Kratom is the bottom line of what we're talking about here today. And if Kratom wasn't in these products, I wouldn't be here today. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you have one question. Representative Holly.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Thank you for loving your husband enough to at least let us know that his life was certainly of value. My question, as you said, knowledge is power.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that had your husband been able to see some type of disclaimer on the product,
Yes.
and knowing that of its effects, that would have that been helpful to him in terms of making the right decision as to whether to use it or not to use it?
I truly believe, thank you for your question as well. I truly believe that, because I think back in 2020, there was not anything like that on the labeling. And so with that said, I think a lot of people, if they were to read certain things, again, knowledge is power. If you know what's in it and what could possibly happen, and if I can take it a step further, you can't even mix certain Kratoms with Kratom. You can't even mix one Kratom with another Kratom. It's lethal. And again, there's a lady that was sitting at a Starbucks coffee shop or a coffee shop, and her son or daughter put the Kratom in a tea, which is a stimulant. And 20 minutes later, it goes seizure, stroke, and cardiac arrest. And so to tell my daughter her dad was not coming home because negligence of a store that didn't have knowledge. And they asked the store owner, and to your point, in the deposition, my attorneys asked the store owner, how did you learn about Kratom? How did you learn to sell it? His response was, oh, I was sitting at a stoplight and saw a sign that says, sell Kratom, make money.
Thank you. I don't have any more questions. Thank you for your
Thank you,
testimony.
everyone. Have a good day.
Next is Jake Damien. Good morning.
I prepared a statement ahead of time.
Sure.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Jake. I'm a lifelong resident of Georgia, Georgia Tech graduate, and a Falcons fan. I'm here to respectfully ask that you reconsider the current language of HB 968 as it relates to Kratom. As written, this bill would schedule all Kratom products, including natural, normal-strength Kratom leaf. I urge you to amend the bill so that it specifically addresses only high-strength 7-OH products and not traditional leaf products in their natural form. I've been taking natural Kratom leaf for 9 years, and it has had a profoundly positive impact on my life. Alcoholism runs in my family, and in my 20s, alcohol use was really negatively impacting my life. Kratom, in combination with some good counseling, helped me to stop drinking altogether, and I'm proud to say I have not drank alcohol in 8 years and am employed as an aerospace engineer here in Georgia. Natural Kratom leaf is a tremendous benefit to my life. My mother could not be here today. She doesn't live very close, but asked me to include a brief statement about her as well. She has had chronic back pain for years. She uses natural kratom leaf to help her manage her pain naturally without having to turn back to the pain pills from her doctor, and she considers herself much better off for it. An outright ban would directly harm her and many others who rely on this healthy, natural option to maintain their quality of life. Natural kratom leaf is very mild and beneficial, and in my opinion, not harming anyone. It has been sold in Georgia for 15 years without issues. It's the new high concentration extracts that are being sold that are the issue. I support regulation, I support age restrictions, labeling requirements, and specifically addressing high potency extracts, but banning or restricting natural normal strength kratom leaf alongside concentrated extracts would really harm many responsible adults across Georgia, like me and my mother, and classifying natural kratom leaf as a Schedule I drug would have an even larger negative impact. I ask that the committee please consider amending this bill so it focuses only on high-strength extracts above a certain concentration of 7-OH or modified, or voting no to the bill altogether. Thank you for your time, your service to our state, and for considering my perspective.
Thank you. You have one question, Chairman Crow.
Thank you. Over here. Hey, thank you for being here. Where do you get your natural?
Online.
Okay, and how are you able to verify the that it is natural and that it's not containing other things? Or I mean, I'm curious as to where your confidence comes from in the product, and I'm just trying to. Before 2 years ago, I didn't even know this stuff existed, and now I've heard from a fellow from a society. So now,
so natural kratom leaf is it's a powder, and it's very mild. The only thing that really causes problems are these really high strength concentrated extracts that they're making, which I perfectly agree should be banned. But in its natural form, it's hard to take enough to actually. I mean, you'd have to take an insane amount. So, granted, I have tried different online places. Some is better than others. Part of it has come with experience. I think better labeling requirements would help with that testing and things like that. But look, as long as I can still order natural kratom online without a bunch of hoops to jump through, I'll be happy.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's my concern, is just the quality and consistency of what folks are getting. I think is a big problem. So thank you.
Understood.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. You actually have one more question, Representative Holly.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Thank you for your personal testimony. This is, as you can see, it's a tough issue. Took one life and preserved another. You're here not only on your own accord. You said there's others that also have taken the amount that you've taken who are.
My mother.
Your mother has.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I think you did say within your testimony that if it had proper labeling, that there is an exorbitant amount, or that from what you've known, that there's if you're taking an exorbitant amount beyond what you have normally taken, that you've seen, or can you attest to there being some harsh effects?
I wouldn't say harsh effects. It's just you'll get tired and fall asleep. I've never had a negative reaction from taking natural kratom leaf, but the extracts are obvious. They're the crazy extracts that are being sold now they're not the same thing. It's clear, totally different.
What makes it most obvious? Because I think
it's like 1,000 times stronger.
But do you know that since you don't know that based upon ingesting it, is that something?
I've tried one or some of the extracts once or twice, and they weren't for me.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Next is Michelle Ross.
Okay, thank you, Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Dr. Michelle Ross. I am an addiction scientist and one of the leading researchers on kratom and 7-OH in the country, and author of the book, Kratom is Medicine. I strongly oppose HB 968 and any amendments that would criminalize 7-OH. In Georgia. So I want to clear up some things here. One, every single kratom consumer has 7-OH in their body. It's not a crazy novel synthetic opioid. It is actually found in the kratom leaf, and again, 24% of the metrogenine in kratom is turned into 7-OH in the body. So it's a metabolite. So all the kratom consumers, which is 7% of Americans, are actually using kratom. It's actually very widespread. There's over 660,000 residents of Georgia using kratom. So it's a big population. We're not seeing a crisis. When you look at the poison control when you look at the poison control data, you actually see that only 0.06% of poison control calls involve kratom. There are 0 deaths attributed to 7-OH in the United States. Matt Cowdow unfortunately told you some misinformation. The United States government also declined to schedule 7-OH in 2016 and 2019. While they did recommend it being scheduled, it is based on some false information. And recommending it does not mean it actually be scheduled. It has to go through the process. And again, twice it was declined. It may be declined again this third time. I want to present just really quickly some research.
Doctor, I've got to enforce this real quick, but I do have a question. Maybe this will help.
I'm sorry. Why did you let some of the other experts talk for so long, and I can't even talk?
I'm
sorry. That seems
we'll
not
get
right.
through questions.
Okay.
We'll
Okay.
hopefully,
Thank you.
Elicit what you're trying to get through. And just so you know, I have a rules committee meeting, which members of this committee have to be at 11 o'clock. If I could give you until midnight, I would. I assure you that. So, as far as the research, the chair had a question. There's been a lot of research presented over the last, going on 3 years now, to members of the committee. My question is this, and what you've seen as far as the federal government and what they have done. Have you seen the federal government schedule just the synthetics using this chemical composition of the leaf, or have they also or banned the leaf as well as the synthetics?
So the FDA has not approved either kratom leaf or 7-OH. It also has not scheduled either of those substances.
Okay. What about neither the synthetics?
Again, I'm going to disagree that it's synthetic, but they have not scheduled 7-OH.
Okay. All right. Let's see, Chairman Crow.
Thank you. You talked about researching this, and you've obviously spent a lot of time. What is your area of practice? What type of doctor are you? What do you do?
Yeah, so I'm a neuroscientist who specializes in addiction, and for the last 14 years, I've helped chronic pain patients and worked as a harm reductionist, helping them understand how to use kratom for chronic pain and minimize risk with interactions with other medications, etc. Again, because this isn't a drug, this is not necessarily, regulated by pharmacists yet. Obviously, I agree that this should probably be under the purview of pharmacists. I believe that 7-OH, in addition to kratom products, should be, dealt with pharmacists rather than, I was doing this because no one else was actually helping the patients, and I wanted to reduce harm.
Okay. And so you're a PhD?
I am a PhD, yes, and
Not
I have some other certifications,
but
yes.
not a medical doctor?
No, I'm not a medical doctor.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions from members of the committee? All right, seeing none, thank you.
Okay,
and
thank
we
you.
appreciate your time here today. All right. I don't know if I have anybody else signed up that we hadn't got to, but I think just for clarification, Mr. Robert Smith with PAC explained some of the drafting changes.
I'm not going to miss this chair. I'm not going to miss this room. I'm not going to miss this desk. And I wish Representative Roberts was here because, to Representative Neal's point, 2018 is when you started this. There were 2 study committees in 2018. And this kratom has been an issue for that long and has been all sorts of different directions. I want to thank Representative Townsend, worked with him on language, and I don't see any of the problems that I've discussed with you previously in this current language, and I'll stand for any questions.
So this substitute has alleviated the concern of us abrogating our authority under the 10th Amendment to the federal government. As far as just tying it to whatever the feds decide, then we automatically implement as far as...
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we did away with that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Number 14, Representative Fincher.
You heard the testimony about having poisonous warnings on there.
Yes, sir.
Do you agree that should be on any of the product?
Personally, as a citizen of the state of Georgia, I was moved by that testimony. But I'm also not a legislator.
Thank you.
I know how people like to sit here and talk about they're not a lawyer. I'm not a legislator.
You have a juris doctorate, not a medical doctorate, correct?
And as the chairman knows, we call ourselves doctors for the period of time where you get your cap and gown to the moment you get your diploma, and then afterwards, never again.
I do indeed remember that.
My mother, who's a PhD, reminds me that she's the real doctor in the family.
Understood. All right, number 11.
I won't ask you a question on your opinion on policy because I know that's, as you like to refer, that's for us to decide, right?
Yes, sir.
But just what we're doing now, I guess it looks like in Section 2, we're adding all of the derivatives or synthetics or any of these other, anything that's not natural kratom leaf, we're putting it under Schedule 1. And then the natural kratom leaf we're putting behind the counter, so to speak, having pharmacist involvement, right?
That would be consistent also with what you're doing with the problems we're dealing with hemp and marijuana, and with what y'all did with the benzodiazepines, that we started running into problems with synthetics. There are some very, very brilliant people who have decided to, rather than follow the law, find ways around the law, as you are aware from your previous life as well, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
See no other questions. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
All right. You were wanting to testify to this. Didn't want to leave you out. I'll get to you once we finish up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead when ready.
Okay. So since I know I have a very short time and I'm here as a kratom consumer as well as a botanical bar owner. So when we talk about kratom, we also talk about COAs. That's where you were talking about, checking it, verifying, doing lab results. I have all of our labs right here with me if anybody would like to look at them, because kratom, Mitrogenia speciosa, is not the problem. It's the synthetic 7.0 problem. That's the problem. Our labs are tested. They're tested when they come into the United States to verify with the FDA. Then we have to test them once we brew them to sell them. They come in from Indonesia. It's like 0.01 with 7.0 by the time we're brewed, which is just with water and kratom leaf. It actually comes back nothing shown at all. And I have all the documentation here to prove from our labs out of California. But again, I'm here as a consumer and as a bar owner. The fatalities noted, the products generally are illicit. There's other illicit products in there. I'm from Rome, Georgia, Floyd County, and they were actually given a notice, sorry, I'm nervous, given the notice about the kratom ban bill, and they were for it. It made headlines in the newspaper. We reached out, spoke with the city manager, explained the difference between 7.0 and natural kratom. He had no idea of the difference.
And real quick, hopefully we can elicit the rest of this through testimony. When you say he didn't realize, who do you mean?
Sammy Rich. He is the city manager of Rome, Floyd County.
And
he didn't know anything about, 7.0. He knew about apparently the fatalities. That's what he was presented with, the bill and all the fatalities coming behind 7.0, which, again, as a botanical bar owner and a consumer, I'm anti these synthetic drugs. They're strong, they're dangerous. We do not sell them in our
bar at all. We're a zero alcohol bar, so we serve kratom. We also serve kava. Kava is a part of the black pepper family. And then we serve botanical mocktails. You probably see them all over social media. 3 spirits, they're adaptogenics, but they're all different drinks. For those that still want that social life, kind of the bar experience, but don't want to go to the alcohol establishments, or they're no longer drinking, they come into our establishment. It's kind of like a big community, a big fellowship. When Alabama decided to ban the kratom itself, since banning, it's been a bigger problem because of the black market. They've had more arrests, and again, seeking the black market. From 2022 to 2024, between 27 and 29 million people ages 12 and over suffer alcohol use disabilities and disorder.
Okay. And so, was anybody prosecuted in Floyd County?
No, not to my knowledge. We've been here 4 years, and in 4 years, we have not had any issues come out of our establishment. We've never had the police called because there was a fight, there were weapons, none of that. We did have recently call the police out. We have a switch game system. Somebody came in and stole controllers, and they even noted that. We're never in here. This is a really nice place. You know, they check it out because it looks like a bar, but without the alcohol. There's no alcohol in there.
Okay. I see no other questions from the committee. Thank you for coming down to testify today. All right, sir. Come on up once.
Good morning. I'll try to make this brief. My name is Gary Clemens. I am a certified natural health practitioner. I do use kratom personally as needed, and I do advise others how to safely use kratom. If you want to ban OH, I will support that in any way you ask me to ban that. But the natural leaf powder should be something that should be incorporated on an individual basis. If the pharmacies, if you put it behind the pharmacies, you're going to create a monopoly on kratom. And people won't have access to it like they have it right now. He did say he'll support online, but eventually, I don't know what the lobbying is for pharmacies in the state of Georgia, but I imagine they're pretty powerful. And eventually they'll whittle away the ability to get it online. You'll drive up the price of kratom. It'll be inaccessible to many people that are getting it right now. Does anybody in this room know what the price of kratom is per kg? Anybody? You do. Okay. So you understand it's already high. Okay. It'll get out of control if the pharmacies get it and exclusively have it. If you want to put OH behind the pharmacy, great. Go right ahead. I advise people that are kind of on the fence about kratom, go ask your physician. Every physician knows about kratom nowadays because of what Johns Hopkins has done and what University of Florida is doing. They're both involved in kratom research. It's very accessible online. So should the state of Georgia be labeling kratom all as one? No, you shouldn't be. But the OH, yes. The synthetics, yes. That's a problem. Okay. And that's adding to the bad name that kratom's getting.
You got a question?
Sure, go right ahead.
Number 3, Representative Holly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, sir, for giving your very impassioned testimony here. I was curious, because this is dealing with the severity of the potential of taking it in varying amounts. If this law passes and it does criminalize kratom use, do you believe that you will continue to find that product to take it in order for your own stability?
I can do that right now. That's not a problem for me. Yes, and like she said with Alabama, that's a problem. They're going to find it any way they can get it. To go back to your question about how do you verify that kratom is safe, they're required to test kratom. 15% of the kratom that comes in this country doesn't pass the test. It's too high. So they do have those guidelines in place right now, and everybody that sells kratom should be under those guidelines. Okay, we don't have a kratom patrol in Georgia. Maybe we should have one. Maybe we should have somebody come into the store, to the gas stations. I don't think it should be in gas stations, but I do think online should be. I don't think gas station attendant is obviously not qualified according to what happened to her husband, which is a tragedy. But I think we have to have somebody that can, spot check who's selling kratom. If they're selling it, right now at the gas station. Okay, let me see your labeling. What's your labeling said? Do you have it labeled? Do you have any warnings on it? Do you have any saying this is adverse effects? Again, I say that kratom belongs here, the natural leaf. Put it behind the pharmacy counter if they want to continue with the OH, that's fine. Ask the pharmacist or consult your doctor. It's an individual choice to use kratom.
You got another question here. Chairman Crow.
Thank you. Who is it tested by?
There are labs in the United States that can test kratom when it comes in. And there's a couple warehouses that house the main kratom factories. Most of the kratom from this country comes from 70% comes from Indonesia. Okay.
Who requires it to be tested?
We're a KCPA state, correct?
The FDA requires it.
The FDA.
Okay, the FDA requires it. All right.
They're required to test that. If they're going to sell the kratom, they're going to sell to the public, they have to have it tested. It has to be labeled. It has to be enforced. Is it being enforced now? Kind of, sort of.
Right.
But like I said, there's nobody in the state of Georgia that's actually following up on the enforcement.
Well, and I think that's what we've been trying to work towards is getting some sort of guardrails and getting some sort of handles around this in Georgia. One last question, because I know there's some other folks that may want to ask a question or some other folks that want to speak, and we've got other things to get to. You'd mentioned you were a certified
natural health practitioner, yes.
Okay. In what and by who?
By Trinity School of Medicine in Indiana. Not School of Medicine, Trinity School of Natural Health in Indiana. I am certified aromatherapist as well through AromaHead. It's an institute that does aromatherapy certification. I've been using kratom personally for 2 years now. I only use it as needed. And I think there's a lot of people that use kratom as needed. Okay.
As needed for what?
Well, I have a business of 31 years that it's now on the twilight. I've owned a little successful moving company. I go out and for 2 or 3 hours, I am in such pain that I cannot finish the job. So if I take the strand of green kratom 4 capsules that I make myself, I can get through that job and I actually don't have any more pain. It relieves it until I get home. And as one individual testimony, it does. It has a very relaxing, sedative effect.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. I don't think I have anybody else signed up to testify. Any discussion from members of the committee? All right. Seeing none, what say the committee?
Move to pass.
All right, got a move to pass in a second. Amendments. Vice Chairman Hall.
Got an amendment. As the author had indicated, on line 21, after analogs, comma, insert concentrations, comma, and we'll do the same on line 28, line 35, line 192, and then I thought it was a really good testimony for us to go ahead and include the Georgia Poison Center phone number on the label. So on line 222, take out and on line 235, insert 9. The Georgia Poison Center phone number, period, and delete insert and on at the end of 234.
Okay. You've heard the Hong amendment.
Second.
All right, got a move and a second on the Hong amendment. Any discussion, Representative Kendrick? Is this discussion or? Okay, all right. I'll get back to you. All right. So no further discussion on the Hong amendment. Got a move and a second. All those in favor of the Hong amendment as proposed say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right. Representative Kendrick.
Thank you. I'd like to offer an amendment. So I know that the federal government is working on some of this, so I want to make sure that we stay in line with what they're going to do with regards to synthetics. And I agree that the derivatives and synthetics should be banned, but I have gotten so much testimony from constituents about the benefits of the pure leaf, so I want to preserve access to that. So my amendment is to take my LC that I gave you all, LC 481814S, and I'm not lay at council, so bear with me as I try to do this, but I essentially want to insert the language of line 11 through 29 of my amendment on lines 114 and 115 of the actual bill, so that the there is an exemption for pure leaf having to be put behind pharmacies. And hopefully that it accomplishes.
Just repeat that, what you would be inserting in those lines.
So on line 114 and 115 of the Townsend Amendment, I would be including lines 11 through 29 under the definition of kratom or kratom product as it applies to this amendment. And so it would read on line 114, the kratom or kratom product is, and refer back to lines 11 through 29 of my amendment.
Okay.
And the purpose is to try to still ban the synthetics and the derivatives, but to carve out so that so the pure leaf would be exempt from being behind the counter on pharmacies. And I'm not sure if that accomplishes that, but that's the best I could do in the time that I was allotted.
Okay. Let's see, 14, is that Judge Gunner?
That's me.
Oh, Representative Finch.
You're saying in your amendment that you're going to take it away from the pharmacists?
The pure leaf, the derivatives and everything else being banned remains.
Number 11, Chairman Crow.
So you're wanting to put the synthetics behind the counter now and take, because I think, is that not what this is doing if you insert this there? Because that's the way I'm kind of reading what you're doing. And are you deleting everything else, or are you just sticking this in the middle of all the words that are here?
In the middle of it. So it's my understanding that this bill would ban synthetics and derivatives, but it would put the pure leaf behind the pharmacy. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong.
That's what the intent is,
Right.
yes.
So what I'm saying is I would like to take the pure leaf, still ban the derivatives, but I do not want the pure leaf to be behind the pharmacy counter.
Okay. I was reading this doing something different than that. I was reading this, putting this in here, putting those behind the counter, and maybe taking the pure leaf out, so.
Okay, so what Representative Kendrick is attempting to do is to ban all the synthetic and the derivatives other than the pure leaf and put those behind a pharmacy counter.
But what about the pure leaf?
My understanding is that she does not, in her amendment, propose to put the pure leaf, the leaf itself, behind the counter, is how I understood her amendment. If I understood the representative's amendment and her purpose.
I'm sorry, say that again.
If that was the understanding, the correct understanding of what you're proposing.
Yes, so essentially I want to take the pure leaf from behind the pharmacy counter and still make it accessible. The synthetics and derivatives I'm not touching, whatever the bill does. I'm just taking the pure leaf from behind the pharmacy counter.
Okay. All right, any discussion on the amendment? All right, now Representative Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Basically, what that amendment would do, it's an unfriendly amendment, basically, not unfriendly person, great person, but just an amendment. Because basically what that does is put kratom back over the counter at a gas station, and we just banned 7-OH. It said there'd be no tracking at the pharmacy or anything else. It gets the original bill of basically setting up a safer space for people to buy natural leaf kratom. I'm not banning natural leaf kratom. It just goes behind the pharmacy counter. So it would be an unfriendly at this point. And this would contradict everything Georgia Poison Control Center said too, and others.
All right. Any other further discussion from the members of the committee? Seeing none, I got a move on the Kendrick amendment.
Second.
There's a second. All right. All those in favor of the Kendrick amendment, say aye. All right. All those opposed, same sign.
No.
All right. Amendment fails. All right. Any other amendments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the passage of House Bill 968, LC 52-1070S, as amended with the Hong Amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. No. All right, the ayes have it. You're on the rules.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, committee.
All right. We have time for one more very, very quickly before we go to break. And what I will say for planning purposes, we have rules at 11. I believe in lunchtime, and good judges like Judge Lawton Stevens back there believes in lunchtime too. So what we will do is we will be leaving here just shortly before 11, so members of rules can get up there. Members that are not on rules also have bills to present. So what we will do is we will come back at 12:30 p.m. So if you want to go sit, stretch your legs. If you're not concerned with this next one, go ahead. All right. Next up, I have Representative or Chairwoman Deborah Silcox, House Bill 242. All right, she'll waive. Okay. All right. Next up, we have House Bill 496, Representative Clark.
I have some quick that will help y'all follow along with me to make it even faster.
All right. And you can go ahead while they're passing that out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, members of the committee. This is my second time presenting this bill, House Bill 496. I am working off of LC number 481429, and for this bill, the purpose of the bill is to remove some ambiguity after 2019 when we passed hemp legislation. Now it makes it to where the smell of marijuana or cannabis products cannot be distinguished between legal and illegal cannabis. And so this bill just removes the smell of cannabis products as the sole probable cause for stop, search, or seizure. This, again, as I mentioned before, is law that has already passed in Florida and Pennsylvania, which has similar laws when it comes to hemp and medical marijuana that we have here in the state of Georgia. And it's just good policy. It just makes sure that when stops are happening and searches are happening, that it is using objective measures for that. I provided you all with a packet of...
Hold on just a second. And I hate to interrupt you on this, but
okay.
There's a LC version
yes.
noted in the handout.
Yes, the LC version has been updated. I did not update that on the handout. The new LC version is 481429.
Okay.
Oh, that the original?
That's the original. We have a substitute before us of
yes.
LC 48-1800S.
That's probably correct, and that means the website is not updated. I just don't have the paper in front of me.
Probably only counting in horseshoes and hand grenades. Need to make sure we got the right one that you want us to consider.
Yes, the one that I have considers what you all brought up in the last hearing, which was to remove reasonable suspicion.
Which LC number was that?
That was the original one was 1429.
Did you not submit a substitute?
I did.
Okay, so.
Yes, I
all right,
did.
So we are operating off of LC 48-1800S.
Yes, which
Okay.
is the substitute. Sorry about that. My apologies. Since you brought it up, the substitute did address concerns from the committee last hearing about removing reasonable suspicion. So now this is very precise. This only refers to probable cause. And again, this is not taking a tool away. It just says it cannot be the sole, only evidence for probable cause. And so, do you have any? If there are any questions, I'm happy to take any.
Okay, number 5, Representative Neal.
Yes. My apologies. My first time seeing the bill, so I'm trying to understand it. So you can still use the smell for reasonable suspicion.
Yes.
No, we can't use this. I'm trying to understand. If this passes, you cannot use it for reasonable suspicion. Is that correct?
So we took reasonable suspicion out of the bill. You just cannot use it for probable cause. We specifically remove reasonable suspicion from the bill.
So for probable cause, you need the smell and
Plus, yes, it's just a totality of so if there's a smell and you see it and they're doing something and they're bobbing and weaving through lanes or something else, that all of that can be considered for probable cause. But if it's just smell, you cannot use just smell.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So the smell is what you use to trigger a search.
Yeah, but you cannot do that now.
So how do I meet your standard of having this plus if I can't initiate the search to find the plus?
So you can ask questions. I mean, you can look and see look for objective evidence that's right in front of your face, but you just can't use something that is subjective like smell, since you cannot distinguish the smell of legal versus illegal cannabis products. There's no difference between the smells. They have the same basic chemical structure.
But you learn the legality of it once you do the search to see if it's legal or not.
But you, again, if it's just smell, that's what I'm saying. If it's just smell, you don't know if that person is engaging in legal or illegal activity. It's just the smell.
But I can't search to find out.
You would need to have something else, some other reason other than smell to do a search, yes.
Does the search for the smell, the secondary crime, does that have to be a drug-related crime? If I come to your car and I pulled you over for a tag issue and I smell something as well, can I then initiate a search because I got a smell plus another infraction?
So and I'm not a law enforcement officer, you have been one. If the original thing, say the tag, would have risen to the level of yes, you can search the car because of that, then sure. Again, you can take in the totality of circumstances. But the goal of this is just to say if you smell a hemp product or a cannabis-based product, you don't know if that's legal or illegal. There's no way to tell the difference. There's no difference in the smell. And so because of that, that makes this very ambiguous. And that is why we're saying that should not rise to the level of being enough for probable cause on its own.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman Crow.
Thank you. And Representative Neal, just to your point, on line 16, it says, and if you follow along from the beginning, 13 says a law enforcement officer shall not, and when you get to line 16, it says search or request to search a motor vehicle driver or passenger in a motor vehicle based solely on the scent of marijuana, cannabis, or hemp on its own, whether burned or not. So you're saying if I stop a car, as I've done thousands of times, and while I'm talking to them, I smell the odor of what I believe to be burnt marijuana, which now could be hemp or something else, that I can't use that to even request to search the vehicle, to ask for consent to search. That's what your law says.
That is the way that it's written. It would not be enough for probable cause. Just the smell alone.
I'm saying your bill says that I am not allowed to ask for consent to search because I smell that odor coming from the car. On line 16, that's what it says. I cannot search or request to search a motor vehicle based on that. So that's what it says. Representative Neal, I think that goes to part of your question. We wouldn't even be able to request consent to search based on smelling that.
But that doesn't mean you couldn't ask questions. Like you could ask them.
The
like,
question I can't ask is for consent to search the motor vehicle, which is a question I would want to ask.
would you not want to ask a question like, "Are you smoking marijuana?" Like, why would the first question be, "Can I search your vehicle?" I'm asking genuinely.
It might not be the first question, but it would ultimately be a question. So if I ask them, "Are you smoking marijuana?" and they say no, and I say, "Do you have any marijuana in the vehicle?" they say no. Then I say, "Well, would you allow me to search your vehicle to see if there is marijuana in here? Because I smell the odor of what I believe to be burnt marijuana emanating from your vehicle." Then I would be violating the law. And that's not okay with me. And that's fine. I understand what your purpose is. I just wanted to get clarity and provide some clarity to Representative Neal. So
would you feel better if the language struck request to search and just stopped at search?
I would feel better, but I wouldn't feel good.
I would love to make you feel better about it if that is, if that helps me get my bill across.
Little housekeeping. There was no request to the chair to record or take video before this committee from anyone on any of these bills. You've been warned. You can continue.
I'm taking any other questions if there are any other from the committee.
Number 5, Representative Neal.
That will make me feel good. So what will be the recommendation that you just?
To strike request to search.
Well, different one. Okay. Line 16, request. Okay. I'm good. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. That's all the questions we have at this point.
Do I need to do anything else?
No. No. Just stand by. Amari, I know you've testified before. Anything new to add?
I just want to be clear that because we have something that's legal that smells the same, right? To allow a subjective.
Hold on a second. You're gonna have to come down here.
No worries.
You've got 30 seconds due to the 11 o'clock deadline.
I only need 10. So I just want to make it clear, especially to Ms. Neal, right? Because we have legal cannabis derivative objects that people can smoke, that doesn't mean that you smelling the burnt odor of marijuana is illegal. It's not an illegal act anymore. So for you to now detain somebody for something that's legal is unconstitutional. It's a violation of their Fourth Amendment rights.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to stand in recess until 12:30.